Hi, it's Kelly. Thank you so much for joining me, also known as the Sunshine Crafter. In this video, I'm just going to be doing my first time using a jelly plate. I know there's a lot of videos out there now, and jelly press is very popular right now, but this video is for any beginner who just wants to see what it's like before you dive in. I'm going to be using Distress Reinkers, Distress Oxide Reinkers for this video, but you can use any ink. You can use pigment ink, you can use any reinkers. There's so many different types of inks. You can use acrylic, whatnot. So after I filmed this video, I had ordered the Distress Brayers. They're a little bit softer than these, but these worked for me just fine. The one on the left is the Ranger Brayer, but the one on the right is the Paper Studio, and that's the one you're going to be seeing me use in this video primarily. I like it because it's small and it's handy and it has the little finger spot there. And I'm going to be using Distress Watercolor Cardstock for some of my prints, and some of the prints I'm using 80-pound Neenah Classic Crest cardstock, and I'll also be using some Recollections 110-pound cardstock. That's from Michaels, and that's not really 110 pounds, it's more like maybe 100 pounds. And I'm going to be using what I call my rubby sheet. It's just a piece of copy paper, and it's when I use the smaller prints and I use it so I don't get ink on my fingers. Here's some of the Oxide Reinkers I'm going to be using. A little bit goes a long way. This video is a little bit longer than I typically like to film, but half of it is the process and the other half is me showing the cards that I took the prints and turned them into cards, and I showed you that in the last half of this video, so stick around if you want to see that. And the joys of being a cat mommy is I often, whether it's a hair on my shirt or somehow a cat hair finds its way onto my projects all the time, whether it's embossing powder, and now I'm finding it happens to my jelly print. It's just, you know, cat hairs. What can you do, right? Okay, the first print I tried, I'm like, well, that didn't come out so good. But what's good about jelly prints is that they layer amazing. So start off light and then you can always go darker, and that's what I did here. I'm just laying down a base color so I can build on that, because I knew that's what I wanted to try. Now this is just a huge stencil I have. I don't know where I got this from. I think maybe Joann's or Michael's or something. It's meant for like big projects, furniture and whatnot, but I really like the pattern and I thought it would be nice on this print. So what I'm doing, I'm just using blue and red oxide, and so I can make a purple kind of mix in between the colors. Laid my stencil down, took that base color print and just rubbed it on the stencil, and look how nice that came out. This turns out to be one of my favorite cards in the end. Now after you lift the stencil, you can still pull another print off that. It doesn't look like there's much ink on there, but there is. This is the second print and I like this one too. It's a little lighter, and again, you're not going to get a perfect print with jelly press because it's super sensitive. The things you don't even see on there show up. It's the weird. I mean, that's the beauty of it. It's beautiful in its imperfections. You gotta love the imperfections. Okay, so my second print here, I'm just putting down some more color, and I'm just pulling a basic simple print in the blue colors, and then I'm going to do it again. And looking back on this video, I didn't need to put 4 drops. A lot of that was wasted ink. You could really get away with 2 drops and just use your brayer and just rub it out. But again, this is my first time using it, so I didn't really know what I was doing. And this is a Hero Art stencil. I think the stencils with patterns like that come out really good. Now that was my first print. Now after I removed the stencil, I could have layered it on top of that one, but I decided to go with the Tim Holtz cardstock and just get a fresh print from there, which I did. There's my rubby paper, my copy paper. I put that off to the side. And the print that I pull off here is a little bit light, but that's okay. I like the way it looks. I'm gonna layer on top of it some darker color you'll see here in a moment. I'm gonna use Blueprint Sketch. I think that's what that is. Yeah, Blueprint Sketch. I'm gonna put a few drops down of that. So you don't need very much at all. It's crazy. Now, some people I've seen use whatever ink is on their brayer, they rub off on an extra sheet and they use that, but that really wasn't working for me. I was creating mud, so I just kept a sheet of copy paper off to the left, and I just ran my brayer on that just to clean off any excess ink instead of wiping it each time, which seemed like a lot of work. Now the next print here, I'm taking that light one that came up a little light, and I'm adding more color to that. Now the cardstock one, the watercolor cardstock one, that was the second print. I'm gonna put more onto that here. I'll show you. See that one? Now watch how awesome this comes out. It's the same stencil, same pattern, and I just went right on top of it. It doesn't have to line up perfectly, that's okay. Take my rubby sheet, rub it on there good, and then look, watch. Look how beautiful this is. Oh my God, I just love the way this print came out. It's like it's almost like some type of colored stone pattern. Oh, I fell in love with it. I couldn't see, I'm looking at it like, wow, I can't believe this just came out so awesome. So if you have a jelly plate and you're afraid to try it, don't, just jump in. And if you don't like a print, just use the other side of the cardstock. Try, if you're not sure, use some copy paper. You can use that and just get a feel for it. If you don't want to use your better cardstock, just use copy paper. And again, see what colors you like, what patterns you like, and then you can go ahead and use prints off your cardstock if you don't want to take that chance. I happen to have a lot of cardstock, so I didn't really mind taking a chance. And look at this one. Oh, it's the same pattern but different color. Look how I love it. I just love it. Absolutely love it. Love this pattern. And again, if you don't like the way something looks, just flip your cardstock over and do it on the other side. After it's dry, you just make sure it's dry so you don't smear ink on your fingers or whatnot. But yeah, look at that. Same stencil, two different prints. Love it. Now, without even cleaning off my jelly plate, I'm gonna go ahead and do another one. And I still have ink on my stencil, but I didn't care. I didn't feel like taking the time to wipe everything down, so I was just flying by the seat of my pants and hoping for good results. Now the next one I'm going to pull here, again, same stencil, and I'm using the Tim Holtz watercolor cardstock, using my copy paper, my rubby sheet, and this one came out a little light again, but that's okay. I really like this pattern, and I'm happy with the way they're coming out. So now, without cleaning off my jelly plate, again, I put too much ink on there, but that's okay. I'm using the same stencil. I'm just gonna fly through this real quick just to show you. Peel that off. Now I'm gonna put that one that's a little bit light, and I used a little bit darker of ink this time. Use my rubby sheet, pull it off, and I got another one. I really like this pattern. I was pretty happy with it. That's why I'm like doing a little happy dance. Look at that. It looks, I don't know, it looks almost like a stone like pattern, mosaic type pattern. I don't know. I was really happy with them, and I couldn't wait to turn these into cards. And another thing with the jelly plate is that you get so many prints so quickly. I mean, one pass you can pull like 2 or 3 prints, 2 for sure, and sometimes 3 depending on the color of ink. Now I'm using another Hero Art stencil. I forgot the name of it, but I found that the geometric patterns really work well. Now this one I started off light like I normally do, and I just put my stencil on there, rubbed it through, and look at that. Look at that. I love it. I really like the geometric pattern that has openings big enough for the white space and the ink to go on. I think really gives a good result. Now this one I put down way too much ink, but that's okay. It's a learning process. And I'm gonna put this same stencil down and just shift it a little bit just to add some interest. Use my rubby sheet, press that down. Again, now you can use a regular sheet for that. See, look, see? And that's pretty cool too. You can use regular cardstock and make that a print, but I just chose to use the stencil direct print instead. Now I went ahead and rubbed that on top of my light print. And look, that's pretty cool. See? You got your light color behind it and then your dark in front of it. So I kind of like the way that came out. Now this next one, I'm doing the same thing. Again, I'm using my rubby sheet. And again, that too would be a nice panel. And I just went ahead on top of it again to see if I could build more layers. And at this point I was pretty happy with it, so I left it as is. Now moving on, I'm using some more ink and I'm going to make another print. Use my rubber sheet again. And again, it's just repeating the same thing over and over again. Now I'm going to start with a fresh piece, and that one came out too light, but again, it's all about building layers, right? Start light, go darker. If you start off dark, you have nowhere to go from there. You won't be able to see anything after that. So you're better off starting off light and then going dark. Now I'm using my rubber sheet again, rub sheet, peeling that off. Now I have enough ink on this one, it's going to come out nice. I'm going to pull that print, and look, it's like an ombre. I wanted the light, and look at how amazing that came out. Right? So there's so many, the options are endless with this technique. I mean, it really is. And I like using the Distress Oxide Reinkers as opposed to the ink pads, because the ink pads, it seems like you can get a lot of cross-contamination. And that's okay, just be careful when you put your inks down. If you want to use your ink pads, that's fine. But if you have the Reinkers, it's just easier, in my opinion, than using the ink pads. If you have that option. If not, use your ink pads. Use what you have. Don't go out and get stuff just because you see somebody else has it. Just use what you have and you can make it work. Now I was going for another ombre look, so again I started off light. I really liked the way that other one came out, so I wanted to recreate that. So I put my dark ink on the left, medium ink in the middle, light ink on the right. And I started light to dark with my brayer, laid down my geometric stencil, used my rub sheet, just press that in there, lift my stencil, and pull my next print. And watch how this one comes out. Look at that. Isn't that cool? I love it. I really like the ombre look, and I like using the dark purple to the light pink. I think that's a nice effect, and it's going to make a nice card. So I was pretty happy with this one too. Now next I figured, maybe Distress Oxide sprays would be kind of cool. Let's try that. Well, what I should have done is, yeah, that's okay. See, look, it's a learning process, right? I could still use it, but I should have maybe misted it or used a splat box and just sprayed it onto my jelly plate so it wasn't so concentrated. But these are my prints that we made here, and they look better after you trim them down. So I'm going to show you real quick. If you're not happy with the print, always trim off the excess, and then take a look at your card size, A2. I'm trimming mine down to A2 size, and I like the way they come out. So here are the prints I made, and if you want to hang out with me a little bit longer, I will show you the cards. How I turn these into cards. And also keep your scraps, because they make some pretty cool cards too. Alright, so thanks so much for stopping by. Hang tight for the cards. Okay, so after making all the prints and trimming them down, using some for scraps, these are the cards I made. Now, granted, it took me a few days, a few crafting sessions, but these are them. I'm going to go through them and just show you basically what I did and how I used the prints to turn them into cards. This one I used Hero Art's Big Hugs, and I put foam underneath it for dimension, and the Sending You. I use Trinity Stamps Gold Baubles for the accents, and this is the print that I used a stencil on. Again, I'm really new. This is my first time using the jelly plate, and I can tell you right now I'm going to be using it a lot because it was so much fun, and the imperfection makes it perfection, if that makes sense. I think the imperfection of it makes it beautiful. Okay, right? So, like I always say, it doesn't have to be perfect to be beautiful. And I love this background. I love the way this looks. I really do. So there's that, and then there's the inside. I also used a Deco die here, and I added my gold pen, my gold marker, paint pen, and I added that to match the outside. So there's that. I'm going to go through these real quick. And there's I really like holographic cardstock, and this is an older die from Concord and 9th, and I use Trinity Stamps. I forgot what they're called, but they're holographic baubles. Everything will be linked below. There's that. And I embossed just the top with a no name embossing folder. And then this one is another print. It's just, I didn't want to trim it down, so I kept it as big as possible, and I added that on an embossing background, and some more Trinity Stamps, some pink baubles, and thanks is from the Hero Arts, thanks and hello, extra large stamp and die cut. Big hugs. This one I'm not crazy about. I like the background, but the way the card came out, it's okay. It's all right. And this one goes with this one. Wait, no, hold on, where is it? There's one in here. Hold on a minute. Where are you? Where is it? Oh, here it is. These three were made from Simon Says Stamp has a leaf die cut, and what I did was in a jelly plate, I laid it down. Well, you've seen, I did it in the video. And I don't know if you can tell, but this piece here is a die cut, but underneath it's just a printed image. And I'm really going to be playing more with die cuts and stamping. I really like the way it came out. And I used CZ Designs Hugs die and the holographic baubles again. And this background is an embossing folder from Crafter's Companion called Faceted Leather, I think it's called. Oh, whatever. I'll link it below if it's available. And these are prints also from the same die cut. Okay, now this one, I offset this a little bit just to do something different, and I used Birch Press Designs and here holographic cardstock and Thinking of You from Hero Arts, and I just outlined that with a little white trim just to polish, give it a finished look. There's that card. And this one is a similar design, but I used holographic trim instead of white, and it's the same layout. Pretty much, just a little different sentiment. I really like holographic cardstock lately. And now these are all the same design, just different colors, as you can see. They're all tags. This one is a Sizzix tag. It's stitched. So is this one. And this one is a Hero Arts nesting tag. Oh no, I'm sorry, this one's stitched too. I apologize. And so is this one. This one is the Hero Arts nesting tag. Made a mistake, but they're all different colors, and I used a pierced in the background there, and these are different pierced backgrounds, and then I used I don't know if you can tell, but along the edging of the pierced I used a embossing rectangle frame just to give that impression of an embossed edge, and I used glossy black cardstock, and I propped that up I die cut that 3 times. And these here are not acrylic gemstones. These are actually rhinestones. These I ordered from a rhinestone site, and they're purple rainbow they're called. So I thought they would look pretty on there. And again, that's that one, and it's Trinity Stamps blue baubles. They just kind of matched that color theme. And this one, I really like the way this came out with the blue and the pink. I mean, I really like that color pattern, and I like it on the black, gray background. I like the way this came out. And again, I used that Deco again in the inside. And this one's a green guy, and this one, again, you see the pattern there, and I just did a lot of the tag design. All right, so that's that. And here's one more. This one I like too, is like a lime green color. And I really like the way that pattern came out. I like working with stencils and the jelly plate. I like the results a lot. All right, now this one I stamped an older stamp set from Stampendous. It's a cling stamp, and I stamped in Distress Oxide in the same colors of ink that I used on the jelly plate, and I just, you know, made some impressions there. And then I used a birch press design, heart, pierced heart, and Simon Says stamp, pre-cut, you know, pre-printed sentiment strip, and some holographic cardstock, and some, these are called, they're from Trinity Stamps as well. They're clear, but they have a holographic iridescent shine to them. Bubble blowout, that's what they're called, bubble blowout, because they kind of look like bubbles, you know, with that iridescent glow. All right, now this one, I used Hero Arts, Hello There, Stamp and Cut, and I don't know if you can tell, but this is an embossing folder in the background, and I just used a gold paint pen on all the little studded dots there, and just to make those stand out a little bit. And the edge, I used a gold paint pen to match the sentiment. And Trinity Stamps again, Gold Baubles. Big fan of Trinity Stamps, can you tell their embellishments? And here's another one. And this one I used Reverse Confetti, the frame there. And this is a landscape card. And same thing here, an older Hero Arts, thanks for your kindness. Thanks, Stamp and Cut. And back here I have a memory box pierced leaf die plate I use for the jelly plate print. I didn't put anything on the inside of this one. This one's not done yet. And this one is another one like this, but a different jelly plate design, and same design as these pretty much. Okay, this one, did I show you this one? Oh, this one, Hero Arts as well. I took the now with this one, I took some Distress Oxide sprays and I splattered it onto my jelly plate to see how that would work. And it didn't spread out as much, but it left pretty significant opaque splatters. So there's that, and I used this studded leather embossing folder again, and I used Sizzix stitched hexagon die for this. And this is Hero Arts and Trinity Stamps Baubles again. That's that. Now these guys, this is an older set from the Stamp Market. It's the Paper Hug. And I used foam underneath, and I black heat embossed this in black. And this is a Paper Hug, and I just used a decal edge here and outlined it in black so it could stand out a little bit more. Pretty simple card. And I used Trinity Stamps blue baubles here and a little green up here to match the different colors on the pattern. Now there's another one. Again, very simple card design. Same thing, different colors, same thing. Now these, I sell a lot of stuff online, so I wanted to make some quick thank you cards. And since I had all these prints, this is from Simon Says Stamp. It's the extra large greetings. And I just stamped a bunch of them, and even though it covers up a lot of my background, it's bold and simple card, and some stone drops here, and some vintage drops here, and some pink baubles here, more pink, a different shade of pink baubles here with the background. And this one I used some scraps. I put this on some copy paper. I glued them down and then die cut it, outlined it in black, glued it down, and then that's it. And I think this is black foam, fun foam behind this sentiment to raise it up. And these are some gems. These are called Unicorn Tears from Trinity Stamps. And here's another one, blue. I mean, when you use the jelly plate, I mean, you get so many prints so quick. I mean, one pass, you can get 2, 3, maybe even 4 prints. And again, the scraps, they can make cards. So if you want to mass produce cards and you want a bunch of backgrounds quickly, this is a great way to do it. I mean, I made a bunch of cards. Well, let me rephrase that. I made a bunch of panels very quickly. The cards took a little more time. These were quick because they were just mass producing them. But these guys, they all took, you know, a couple hours each night. I made different ones. And that's it. So I hope you liked this video. Please consider liking and subscribing if you haven't done already. And please leave a comment down below. And that will enter you into my random comment monthly giveaway. My daughter picks the winner, so it's not where I can be biased and choose who I want. She picks the winner, and they are notified in the comments, and the winner will be pinned once a month in my channel on the video. So on the most recent video, this way you can see that there is a winner chosen every month. Thanks again so much for stopping by, and I hope you found this video useful. I will be doing more jelly press prints in the future, and I learn how to do more with it. There's so much, I mean, the possibilities are endless. So thanks again. Have a great day, and don't forget, stay crafty.